Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
We are on the record in 2023, TR 381, State of Kansas versus Rebecca Ann Stewart. Please announce appearances.
Yeah.
Richard Paul on behalf of Rebecca Stewart, who appears by Zoom, separate location of the council.
All right, and we have Carrie Seeley, Court Service Officer. Mr. Dean, are you back at your computer? I think you went to get some journal entry forms or something of that sort.
Yep.
And Paul E. Dean appearing for the state in State versus Rebecca Ann Stewart. This is a warrant to show cause why the defendant's probation should not be revoked. Motion that was filed. No, that's not the right motion.
Judge, I believe it was filed November 6th of 2024.
Right.
Yes, Ms. Gillette signed off on that.
I think she said this is not her first. So how does your client want to proceed on this motion to revoke diversion?
Judge, Ms. Stewart would waive her evidentiary hearing, admit to those violations, and proceed to disposition at this time.
Ms. Stewart, do you understand that? Okay, now, is your last name Stewart or Stewart?
Stewart,
With a T or a D?
T.
A D, okay.
T.
No,
T.
T.
All right, well, we
He is
may,
in Tom, Judge.
okay. All right, so in your warrant to show cause, you do have the right to a hearing to challenge the allegations of violations. I'm sure Mr. Paz told that to you,
Yes, ma'am.
but you want to waive your right to a hearing and admit that you have violated your probation, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And specifically, the state is alleging that you failed to report all changes in residence, telephone number, and employment, and any law enforcement contact immediately or the next day. Do you agree to that?
Yeah.
And then they're saying you failed to obey all federal, state, and local laws. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
What law did you violate?
I got new charges, but I'm not convicted of them yet. I'm in the
They're
middle of that.
pending? Okay. They're saying you didn't report to them as directed. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but it was because I was incarcerated in Allen County.
Okay. They say you failed to pay all your fines and fees associated with the cases directed. Do you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And they say you did not fail to restrain from the purchase, possession, or use of alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you use? Alcohol, illegal drugs?
Your Honor, probably
Yeah,
probably just going to be a no contest admission on this because I'm guessing that's associated with that pending charge over and out.
yes, Judge. I would advise her not to answer that question, Judge.
Okay. Well, I do find that you know what you're doing and that you waive your hearing and stipulate to a number of violations, certainly enough to lead this court to revoke your probation. Are there any recommendations for disposition on this revocation for no proof of insurance dating back to at least 2024 when she was sentenced?
Your Honor, it appears that Ms. Seeley requested this be brought back for review. I think this is their first request for revocation of probation. I asked Ms. Seeley if she's has a particular recommendation or is just recommending that we review this case and restart her again on probation if she hasn't even started probation, it seems like perhaps.
Ms. Seeley, did I not see a prior revocation motion?
I do believe, Your Honor, this is the first revocation that we have had in this case.
I think what's confusing me is your affidavit to request it was October 29th. The warrant to show cause was October 31st, but then we have a motion to revoke 11/6. Okay. So that all deals with the same violations. So recommendations.
Ms.
Seeley,
Seeley,
apparently
had she been reporting to you at all? Had she really started probation before this?
Yes, she was initially placed on probation in March of 2024 at the end of the month. She did miss quite a few of appointments, and I believe the last appointment that she did miss was the same or happened to be the same as the date of offense of this pending case that she now has in Allen County. Honestly, Your Honor, she has a lot of pending cases going on, and I would recommend some sort of sanction of any kind and to revoke and just term this case at this time. I believe she'll have consequences to face in a couple other counties actually after this.
What type of violations is she looking at in the other cases?
She did receive a conviction in Neosho County for 24 CR 230, which happened she was convicted on December 10th of 2024 for interference with law enforcement. It was a misdemeanor case, but then as Mr. Paw said, she does have a pending case in Allen County for possession of opiates, trafficking and contraband in a correctional facility, interference with law enforcement felony, and possession of paraphernalia.
Mr. Dean, your recommendation?
Your Honor, she had a 6-month underlying sentence, which usually I request for somebody to make sure we got their attention. I don't think that particularly worked in this particular case, but obviously.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you, Paul, but the journal entry I'm looking at says she was sentenced to 90 days.
How much credit for time served does she have? Does anyone know?
My notes indicate, Judge, I think there was a thing that said 30 days, then probation, because I think you might have sentenced her to 30 days initially.
Well, if that's the case, serve the balance of 90 days, close the case, send it to collections.
Mr. Paw, did you have anything else to say?
Judge, I know Ms. Stewart has a lot going on. I believe she has maybe half of this case done while in custody of her 90-day custody. Judge, this is her first probation violation. I would ask that you reinstate her.
At this time, the defendant's probation is revoked. She is to get credit for all time served to date on this case, not any of those other cases. And she is to serve the balance of her sentence. Costs to collections.
Your Honor, if I may, I apologize. There seems to be some discrepancy because in the journal entry of plea and sentencing I'm looking at, it does concur with Mr. Dean's 6 months underlying. So we may need to.
All right, then we better look at that.
Well, and I note that, and I also note that this apparently Miss Gillette at some point in time made modifications to a journal entry. Apparently I had prepared, but it did not. And then she must have appeared in the plea. I think there might have been an attempt to get the plea done, and then it was that I had the journal entry prepared, and then it must have been taken up at a later date when I was not available, which is seldom for this docket. So for the type of offense we're dealing with and the other charges she has, I'm satisfied with it being a 90-day sentence, balance of 90 days, credit for time served. serve that and be done.
Well, since the two of you have initially had differing amounts of time, I want to look at that myself, this journal entry of sentencing.
I'm not so sure that the 90 days that Richard was referencing might have been what I had initially recommended the court sentenced her to 6 months, but that's just speculation on my part. Since
And that may be the case, Paul. But regardless, I would concur with that 90-day, give her credit for all the time she served and do what you're going to do.
March
Can I
29th,
ask something?
2024, journal entry of plea and sentencing does say sentenced to 6 months on count 2. And she was to serve 30 days ordered by the court as a condition. Well, Ms. Stewart, I'm sorry, but you made apparently an agreement that if you violated your probation, you would serve an underlying sentence of 6 months. I went along with that agreement, and I'm ordering that you serve the balance of your 6 months.
Okay, but it was agreed for 3 months, not 6. That's what
Well, I'm just telling you that apparently the order was 6 months, and that's what you're gonna serve, the
Well,
balance.
good luck. For real.
Okay, so are you sitting here telling me you're going to deliberately run from the law? Is that what you're telling me when you said good luck? Is that what you meant? All right, Mr. Dean, we're gonna need to get a warrant for. She just told me good luck and signed off.
looking at a record, it doesn't appear she's been too hard for law enforcement to catch up with, so I'm not particularly concerned.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right as well, but
If she runs from me, she's gonna fail to appear probably in a bunch of other cases, from what I understand.
it would seem evading law enforcement is not an area of her specialty.
All right. Yeah, I need to make a note that she told
But
me and that she disappeared on me.
I will have, Your Honor, is the court just forthwith ordering a bench warrant for her arrest based upon because I have the assistants working on that, working with law enforcement right now as well.
All right. Well, she's revoked and ordered to serve her sentence, and before I could tell her when to check in, she told me good luck and took off. So there we have it. All right, we'll be in recess on Stewart.